just a little bit about soul retrieval integration. So first off, what is a soul retrieval? So a soul retrieval is what we talked about earlier. We go, sometimes a piece of our soul, or a soul part, it's called, gets stuck. And I'm going to mention, I find it very interesting that one of us returned as a cat. And I will explain that in a moment. But sometimes a part of our soul gets stuck. And it doesn't necessarily happen as a result of a trauma in this lifetime. It may be several lifetimes back, or even accumulation of trauma in several lifetimes. And that soul part it's still a part of us. So we always feel that kind of pull towards it, and it trying to move back towards us because it's a piece of us. But we often feel like there's a piece of us missing. And so when we have that feeling of, I don't feel complete, I don't feel whole, we will try to fill that piece of us with something outside of ourselves. When in fact, it's a piece of our soul, a soul part that we're trying to put back in. So it may become here that we're trying to fill it with something that doesn't match with it, because we try to match it to a 3D world. So for example, if it's the intellectual part of us that is trapped, we may start to overanalyze and over-intellectualize, thinking that we're always getting it wrong. Because the intellectual part of us that kind of quickly comes to the right answer, and we can be as smart and as intellectual and as educated, but it's still that piece is missing. And so when we go and we do a soul retrieval, we retrieve that piece of us, and we can do it in parts, one piece at a time. It's really hard to pull all the pieces of the puzzle together, because oftentimes you'll wind up, when you pull all of the pieces of the puzzle together, you might find that, like, you know, I can't do this puzzle, or this would take me forever. So it's much easier to pull back the pieces that you could fit into place, and then go, oh yeah, I'm still missing a piece, and go look again in the little box that is our soul to see if we've got a piece of puzzle stuck there somewhere. And so this soul retrieval, soul memory retrieval, we're bringing back a piece of our soul's memory, a soul part. And oftentimes that soul part can come back represented by a spirit animal. It can come back represented by a color. You might get a feather drop down in front of you. And so that representation that we see or that we experience helps us to understand what part has returned, what we've brought back. And we will start to feel more whole and more complete. And we will stop needing to fill that piece of us with something outside of ourselves. So those experiences can be a little jarring in this world. It can be a little difficult to integrate them. And sometimes when we try to integrate them, we can even reject that soul part. So we can go, yeah, but I'm not that person. And I need to keep filling my empty soul piece, this space. I need to keep filling it up with the stuff that's always in there. And so it might be sugar, it might be people, it might be food, it might be exercise, whatever it is. We have a habit that's connected to this earth of filling that part up. And so we need to welcome that part back. So oftentimes it will come back in a way to let us know what it is. And as with the cat that came back, that really came back solid. So it's like solidly back, the cat part of me is back. And what relates to the cat part may be different from different people. Definitely do the research on that. What's the white light part? Or the recognition that it came back through the third eye? What's the emotional part? What's the density that I'm feeling? Oftentimes, again, it was mentioned that the physical energy that came back with the cat was sitting down in the lower stomach, in the sacral area. So that may be significant. The color of the cat that came back may be significant. These are the things to look at and to explore. So to welcome that part of yourself back. I hesitate to give interpretations. I can tell what the cat means and what the light means. And if you want that, I can do that as well. We can have a little bit of conversation, or you can do some exploration yourself. We can